can see the 12th Street Bridge with the KFC and the other restaurants that are right there on it. If you keep going down that road, you're going to run into Oklahoma City after you cross Santa Fe, and that's the area that it is. And right there, it's continuing to track almost pretty much straight east. Right now, we're over, I guess I'm over, actually, 119th.
Moore,
sorry,
folks.
I'm over Bryant.
This is a tornado on the ground in Moore is where this is. This is now moving into downtown Moore. It is a confirmed tornado on the ground in Moore. That's where that is right now. Power flashes, multiple power flashes. It is on the ground near West Moore High School. Right now, it is a confirmed tornado on the ground. There is no tornado warning from the Weather Service, but I promise you that is a tornado on the ground right now. It is a supercell with a hook. This is the mesocyclone. That is a tornado very close to West Moore heading into downtown Moore. Could be F1, F0, F1, something like that. But that is a tornado coming into downtown Moore. Right now, it is in Moore, not Oklahoma City. It's in Moore. F1 tornado could be easily. It's at least an F0 tornado. You saw the power flashes. Back to Bob Moore, Chopper 4 Live. More power flashes, downtown Moore.
It's on 12th Street. It's on 12th Street in Santa Fe, Mike. You can see the church right there in the very bottom of your screen. It's continuing to go kind of towards the northeast here, but 12th Street and Santa Fe, we've got a little bit of debris going, as you can see right there. Continuing to track towards the northeast here. It's going to be coming up. Your next area right there is going to be coming up on Shields. The Shields kind of goes off there. You have the North Baptist Church there on 27th Street, the First Baptist Church in Moore. It's kind of going in pretty much that direction. Looks like it's going to pass just north of the First Baptist Church there on 24th Street. You got the Shell station there. It's going to be south of the Toby Keith water tower in Moore if it continues on its present track here. But you can see a lot of power flashes there, a little bit debris in the air, a weak tornado, but we're seeing definitely a rotating cloud above it. And as you can see right there, still definitely debris that's moving, and that's going to be, I'm trying to get a bearing here on what buildings those are on this little monitor. I can't exactly tell. But again, it's continuing to track to the northeast, and that's going to be about 4th and Santa Fe, Mike.
Okay, John, let's go to the storm tracker. We're going to just briefly, if you want to double box this, feel free. Look at the hook. Look at the debris ball. Tornado. There's no tornado warning on this right now. This will go red for a tornado warning because there needs to be one out. This is at least an F1 tornado between 4th and 12th right there. Look at the debris ball. Hook echo. That is a tornado. No doubt about it. And it's coming right into downtown Moore, crossing I-35 here in a minute or two. That is a hook with a confirmed tornado in Moore right now. Tornado safety precautions away from windows, interior part of your house right now in downtown Moore. It is a weak tornado, but it is a significant tornado. Could be an F1. Debris in the air, power flashes. That is a tornado on the ground, downtown Moore. Bob Moore, Chopper 4, John Welsh, go.
4th Street here. Yeah, Mike, what we're showing you right now, it almost looks like there might be 2 tornadoes here. Travis, if you'll zoom out and go to your left, there's another one. There's actually a couple. There might even be 3 of these little tornadoes right in here. One's crossing I-35 at 4th Street. You have the other one that Travis is on right there with the power flashes. That's going to be just about Santa Fe and 4th Street here. The north side of town, North 4th Street. So there's 2 or 3 maybe little tornadoes right here, and they're all continuing to track towards the east. This one is going to track, it looks like, from my vantage point, just north of the lock. And the other, I think there's a 4 parts wholesaler dealership right there. They're going to track right along there at I-35. Travis, go to your left. There it is again, Mike. This is the second tornado that's actually came off of there, and it's continuing to track almost due east at this time down the north sides of 4th Street. Come on to the right.
Tornado now is crossing I-35 at 4th Street. Looks like it's occasionally an F0, occasionally an F1. Power flashes, there's more power flashes. You're looking at it live right here from Bob Moore Chopper 4. There's still no tornado warning in effect for Cleveland County from the Weather Service. There needs to be a tornado warning in effect. This is a tornado, and it continues to be an F0 sometimes, F1 sometimes. Look at all the power flashes. Those are winds 100, 110 miles an hour. Look at all that. That is I-35 at 4th Street in Moore. It is going right through downtown Moore right now from Bob Moore Chopper 4 live. Incredible. Go, John.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I'm going to Mike, I'm going to tell you, it's continuing to track there. It's actually moving a little bit south. It's about on Main Street now. It looks like from our vantage point, it's going to go Main Street, I-35. That's about, I think it's Flood, I believe. It's not Flood. Anyway, it's one street that's going to be west of I-35. There's where it's at now. It looks like it's going to continue to track just south of the Moore High School. So it looks like it's going to be right there in Main, and, Main Street and Eastern is where Moore High School is. It's going to track kind of in front of or north of the junior high school right there, and it's going to continue to track towards the east. At this time, it looks like that's now the kind of taking the energy from the other two tornadoes and kind of manifested to that one. But right now, it's actually, hang on, Mike, it's actually it's going south now. It's going kind of south and east, and it's going towards the south side of town now, and it looks like it's going to cross right there on the south side of town, maybe 4th Street area. So it's going to be south of the Moore High School as it kind of continues, basically kind of on the May 20th track as it continues out here. There's a lot of outflow boundary.
Hey, John Welsh, you should see the Warren Theater, and the Warren Theater is in the debris ball that I've got right now on radar. Do you see the Warren Theater? It looks like it's right at the Warren Theater, like right on it.
Yeah, Mike, in my shot right there, as you can see, there's the Warren Theater right there in the bottom of the shot. The debris ball looks like it's just going to be just kind of to the south side of that, really over more of Lowe's area. It's kind of tracking towards the south side, 19th Street, and Eastern at this time, and it appears that now it's headed kind of southeast as it actually picks its size up just a little bit, Mike.
Okay, still looks like about an F1. Tornado warning is now coming out from the National Weather Service for Cleveland County. Looks like about an F1. It's still on the ground here. It's right over the Moore Theater. Most of it now is crossing on the east side of I-35. There's a mesocyclone above it, and below that is a tornado on the ground. Might be down to an F0 now, but an F1, a lot of power flashes. We had debris in the air. There is damage from this tornado, and right now it's at the Warren Theater, exactly where May 20th crossed I-35. That's where it is right now. It is not an F5. It is an F1 tornado the way it looks right now. 10th and May, 119th in May, damage at 119th in May. Look at the funnel cloud dropping down right now, so it's still on the ground. F1 tornado, winds 110, 115. Might have even gotten to a brief F2 there for a while. Still on the ground. There's the funnel.
Okay.
You do not have to have contact between the ground and the cloud, visible contact for a tornado. You can still have the spinning vortex, which clearly is in contact with the ground below the funnel cloud right now. Crossing I-35 at the Warren Theater. Go John Welsh.
Yeah, Mike. Right now, as you can see, the power flashes there as it crosses I-35. It actually looks like there might be dropping another tornado out ahead of it. We definitely have another funnel cloud. It looks like it's going to head right towards about Sunny Lane and 149th, Sooner Road, 149th, that area, and it's going to continue to track to the southeast. So if you're in this area, you're definitely going to want to be taking your tornado precautions. I'm looking farther south down here and towards about Indian Hills, just south of the Belmar Golf Course, and we're getting a lot of outflow blowing here. But it looks like the storm is actually still has one tornado, maybe going to drop another one on the southeast side of it at this time. But it's continuing to track pretty close to the same way that the May 20th one did, except now it's kind of transitioning towards the southeast. About this time it was a couple years ago, it was going towards the northeast. I'm sorry, now it's actually transitioned to the southeast. So as you can see from our shot, you definitely have the funnel cloud right there in the top, which is taking a lot of the energy. And if Travis will zoom in there, we're still getting a lot of power flashes, and we're getting a lot of debris in there. One thing that we're noticing at this time is behind it, it's actually thickening up a lot, and we're losing the light and the contrast. But the storm's going to continue to push towards the southeast. And right now, it's going to go over probably in between the Turtle Lake Housing Addition. It looks like it's going to cross Turtle Lake. It looks like it's going to go just south of the Pepperwheel Oaks and probably right over the Twin Lakes Housing Addition as it continues to track towards the northeast here. And it might actually either go there or it's going to be just north of the Belmar Golf Course as it crosses Sooner Road at this time here, Mike.
Okay, still on the ground, just to the southeast of I-35. It is moving southeast. Let's take the South Doppler here briefly. We're going to cut away briefly, still on the ground. So here's South Oklahoma City. There is some rotation also in the Dell City area here, east of Crossroads Mall. But it is not as strong, but there's some rotation here as well. Here's clearly the hook right here. You see the sink drain effect there. There's I-35. This is going to be Sooner and Sunny Lane here is where it is now. About South 19th and Sooner and Sunny Lane is where the tornado is right now, tracking southeastward. So it's going to be moving out of Moore into a little more rural area of Cleveland County, and there is now a tornado warning in effect for Cleveland County. East and south of that, take your tornado precautions right now. Back to Bob Moore, Chopper 4. Also, Mark Dillard has been driving through some debris in Moore from this tornado. Go, John.
Okay. Yeah, Mike, right now it looks like from our vantage point, it's crossing probably either Bryant or Sunny Lane here. It's going to be south of 149th Street, north of Indian Hills Road. It's kind of in that unincorporated part of town as it continues to track towards the east. There's the Belmar Golf Course, and then there's it looks like there's a housing addition on Sooner Road just north of Belmar. It appears at this time that's really where it's going to cross, just looking at our vantage point here. From the bottom of your screen, you're seeing those housing additions there. 149th Street and Sooner Road is just outside or to the bottom right of the screen. It's continuing to track kind of towards the south and east like it's been the majority of the day. Luckily, it hasn't really intensified any. We haven't seen as many lightning flashes or power flashes out here. One thing is it's a more rural area. There's not as many above ground lines, which could be an indicating factor of that. But still on the ground, we're still seeing a lot of debris kind of kicked up here, and the funnel cloud is still there. We're getting a lot of lightning just north of it, a lot of heavy rain, which is kind of hampering our ability to continue to show the exact funnel cloud of it as it continues to go here. I'm just over the south side of the dam of Lake Draper, shooting back towards directly to the east, and I believe 149th Street is what is south of the dam, so that's kind of our marker that we're shooting straight back, towards the west here. And as you can see from Travis's shot there, we still have some debris, still some power flashes there on the bottom of the screen. It's continuing to transition out here to kind of this rural area. It's going to come towards the north part of Lake Thunderbird here, south of Draper. Looks like kind of if we split the middle between the two, that's where it's going to head. If I were to draw a point from right where it is, it's probably crossing Indian Hills and Sooner Road, and I would probably put a track on it from there to about Franklin and South 48th, just from our vantage point, just kind of watching the way it's going to go. So it's continuing to move to the southeast, still kind of a light tornado, but still definitely a tornado, Mike.
Sooner Road and Indian Hill Road is where the tornado is right now. Sooner Road and Indian Hill Road. Let's keep your shot up, John. Let's talk to Mark Dillard. Mark Dillard has driven through tornado damage up in Moore. He's still tracking along with Reed Timmer. Mark, tell us the damage you've seen while we keep looking at the live picture with the continued F1 tornado, give or take, on the ground now at Indian Hill and Sooner Road, heading for Little Axe. Go, Mark Dillard.
Yes, Mike, it's enough to ruin your day for sure. Now coming into shut down traffic on I-35. All three lanes are shut down here. I just got on at what would be 12th Street in Moore here, but we've got the interstate is basically shut down. I don't know if we've got power lines across the road or we've had an accident here, but let me describe the damage for you real quick, folks. We've got power lines all along Southwest 119th in Oklahoma City. Power lines, a lot of shed roof damage, a lot of basic shingle damage, tree limbs, had stuff balled up. So that tells me that there was a lot of twisting and rotation with the wind at the low level. We've got power lines down all over the southwest side of town now. This thing has hopped and skipped all the way across now I-35 and is heading off to the south and east. I believe we've had an accident here, Mike. Can't tell how many cars, but during this event, had so much driving rain and hail. At times, the hydroplaning situation has been very, very dangerous. I've seen several cars that have slid off the road, and I believe we've got one that is up and over the Jersey barrier here at South 4th Street and I-35 and more. It's just a real mess down here on the south side. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, so you're going to be getting near the Warren Theater here coming up, so we do want to stay with you on your live stream from near the Warren Theater. You're coming up in the Warren Theater right now. Let's go to Max. Let's go to the Storm Tracker control room. And let's take a look at the storm tracker. And the hook's still very well evident. It's still on the ground, heading for Little Axe or the far eastern edges of Norman. Talking about East 36th, East 48th, East 60th Street, and over toward Luther to the south of Draper Lake. Still on the ground, clearly a hook right here. Big supercell. You see how it went right through Moore, past the Warren Theater at I-35. A lot of F1 damage, it looks like. Might have gone briefly to an F2, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's still on the ground right now. Tornado warning for Cleveland County. Now, let's go ahead and go to Max 2 and take a look. And you'll see the hook here, different presentation, really well defined here. And again, there is downtown Moore up here. So now we're zoomed in. This is northeast Norman. The hook echo now is located just south of Draper Lake, over at Indian Hill Road, down to Franklin Road, over at about East 48th Street in far northeast Norman, heading for Denver and Little Axe. The tornado warning continuing for eastern Cleveland County. Back to Bob Moore, Chopper 4 Live. John?
Just about 2 miles south of me, just straight south of that town.
John is talking to the air traffic there at Will Rogers and Max Westheimer. He's in a live update here with still a weak tornado on the ground here, John. Also take the stream there from Dillard, I do believe, too, guys. Go, John.
Yeah, there is, Mike. I'm right now over Franklin and 108th Street here, shooting back directly towards directly towards the west here. And that's, we've kind of really lost the tornado. It's either wrapped up in rain or we don't have enough light to get on the backside of it. I'm just on the, if you're familiar with Lake Thunderbird, it kind of protrudes out to the west. I'm just directly north of the far western points of Lake Thunderbird here, shooting towards the tornado here. And it's got to be right in here. I haven't seen any power flashes in just a minute, but again, we're crossing Franklin and 108th. Shooting back towards the west here, and that's where that tornado I heard you talking about still had the hook echo on it, still continuing to move towards the east and southeast here. If I was to pick a spot, Travis, if you go just to your left, I believe it's going to be somewhere a little bit more to your left of that green field. We're getting some right in there. I believe that is probably where the low-level rotation that's actually touching the ground is. We've seen definitely some kick-ups right there. If that's not the tornado, that might be another one that actually kind of spawned out in front of it, like happened when it was crossing I-35 there and more. But we're not able to see any power flashes, which is kind of not a surprise because there's really not.
Yeah, it looks like the tornado might have just lifted. It looks like the tornado might have just lifted. Let's go to the storm tracker. Want to back out here just a little bit on the storm tracker. Listen, we can't take it full. We're going to go to Mark Dillard here coming up in that damage. Let's go to the storm tracker, though. Kind of an overview here. Supercell, looks like the tornado might have just lifted. Looks like it's in the process of lifting if it hadn't just lifted, but it could come back down. Northwest of Little Axe, about 60th Street and Franklin. Over there in far east Norman is where it is right now. It's moving due southeast right for Little Axe. Central Cleveland County, eastern Cleveland County, big hail, Moore, South Oklahoma City. There's also a weaker circulation moving out of Del City right now. Doesn't appear to be a huge problem there. And then severe storms here. Main threat with these is going to be tennis ball and golf ball size hail. Talking about Blanchard, Newcastle, Tuttle right now. The Chickasha Airport, Chickasha down to Surreal, Cement, near and south of Anadarko, Ninnekah, Grady County, eastern sections of Caddo County. And the North Metro here, mainly just moderate rain. If you're north of the village, not a problem. In the village, not a problem. All this is in the South Metro. Now, let's go ahead and go back into the South Doppler here. We'll go to the South Doppler. We'll zoom on into the Cleveland storm. You see it right there. Cleveland County tornado warning. Let's go back to Bob Moore, Chopper 4's picture, and Mark Dillard on the Gentner. Mark, tell us about that damage down in Moore.
Yes, Mike. I think just north of the Warren, where you were pinpointing that circulation earlier, is where it crossed, and it tossed a semi-truck. I've got a pickup that was flipped over. Not sure if he just got hung up on the wall and flipped or he was flipped by the wind. But we've got a full-blown mess down here. We've got I-35 basically is shut down at 4th Street, just north of the Warren. I also noticed that there's some intermittent power that is out in Moore. The Warren sign was not on, but they did have power inside. So it's just an intermittent power situation. We also had a lot of fence damage there in front of the theater. So just to the north of the Warren Theater is where we had a crossing, I believe, with a semi that is rolled and blocked 3 lanes of the highway, and all the traffic is having to be funneled off there at 4th Street. In addition to the damage that I crossed on Southwest 119th as we were coming across May and Western, there in southwest Oklahoma City had a lot of power lines that were snapped, had a lot of like sheet metal that was balled up, and had a lot of tree damage as well. So we've had a pretty significant tornado rip through the south side and into Moore. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, appreciate that. Let's go to the storm tracker, and let's talk to Reed Timmer in Dominator 4. Reed, tell us where you are right now. Tornado warning continues far east Norman and approaching Little Axe now, and then a line of severe storms with more hail producers and damaging wind from the southwest metro all the way down to Lawton right now. Tell us what you have, Reed.
Hey, Mike, I'm still in the hill core. I'm approaching the where the damage path should be on Cedar Road, about to pass 149th up here. And I'll tell you, that circulation on the north side of Mustang was definitely what produced that tornado and more. It was very well defined when I closed in on it with gust tornadoes underneath. And I think that might have been the textbook gust tornado genesis process that we witnessed there. So I'm surprised there's more on the southeast side of this that could spin up, but right now I'm really stuck in the hail core. Horizontal hailstones coming in, very treacherous driving conditions, standing water, like water keeps blowing up and over the windshield when I hit it. I could barely see out here, and the rain continues for a long time after this storm passes.
Okay, Reed, appreciate that. Let's go to the storm tracker. We're going to talk to Mark Dillard here next. He's been in the damaged track. Looks like F1 might have gone up to an F2 tornado for at least a couple of places. And there may have been a tornado. We talked about it earlier. This was when it was coming into West Oklahoma City at Northwest 10th and Council and County Line and Northwest 23rd and County Line. There are power poles down there. So there may have been a brief tornado over there by Lake Overholster a while ago. Talking about now 45 minutes ago when it was coming in from Canadian County. We showed some gate-to-gate shear there. There are power poles down there. So there might have been another brief tornado there. So what we have going on, we have one tornado warning in effect, and it is for central and eastern Cleveland County, for far east Norman and Little Axe, and then the rest of these are severe storms here, severe thunderstorm warnings, large hail damaging winds, all the way down. Not a good idea to go down I-44 at all, because a lot of hailers here from Tuttle and Mustang down to Bridge Creek, west of Newcastle, northwest of Blanchard, down to the Chickasha Airport, Pocasset, Amber, and then from there, Cement, Surreal, all the way down to Lawton. But the one tornado warning continues now for far east Norman, talking about 60th Street east, way east Norman, like 6 to 7 miles east of downtown Norman. And the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire on schedule. The way it looks right now, it will be allowed to expire on schedule, meaning it looks like the tornado has indeed lifted. We show weakening circulation now. It does not appear to still be on the ground. Our Doppler signatures show the winds have come way down in the past 7 to 8 minutes or so. Let's go back to Mark Dillard with his live stream. He drove through the damage and more with an update. Mark?
Yes, Mike, I'm coming into Norman now where it's a much calmer. In fact, it may not have even rained very much down here. In fact, it hasn't rained very much. But you go 10 miles back up toward Moore, and it's a different story. We've had we've got the highway shut down, as a matter of fact. We've got I-35 southbound lanes are shut down due to a overturned semi and some cars that were one pickup that was flipped on its top and some others into the Jersey barrier. So we may have had a crossing there, Mike. It's probably going to be the location I'm going to put it at because we also had additional fence damage and some debris hanging in power lines and whatnot. And then you go trace it back over toward Southwest 119th and Western and May. We had a pretty significant damage back there to some power lines and roofs and some sheet metal that was balled up and twisted and some tree limbs. So probably more than likely we've had a pretty significant, and I might add that path was it was intermittent and it was about a mile long along 119th. And then back when we were at the airport on the north side of the airport with a lot of hail and a driving north wind, we had some power flashes on the north side of the airport, probably more like straight line wind issues. I didn't see anything twisting in front of me per se, but we had a lot of straight line wind issues there on the north side of the airport with some hail. So there's intermittent power issues from back towards El Reno all the way across southwest Oklahoma City and into Moore, and probably on the very east side of Norman over toward the lake. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, appreciate that. Excellent report. Let's go to the storm tracker. The tornado warning now has expired. The tornado has lifted. so there's no longer a tornado on the ground. Circulation's weakened considerably. And heavy storms in central Oklahoma City, not a big problem. Things are going to start to improve if you live in Oklahoma County, if it isn't already improving where you live already. Still some hail in the South Metro, but it's not really big hail, so that's good. Some dimes and some peas and maybe a couple of nickels. The bigger hail, which is still between golf ball and tennis ball size, would be over here in Cleveland County near Lake Draper, to the south of Midwest City and Del City, and to the northeast of Norman. And then these storms here are severe. Mustang down to the west side of Newcastle, down to northwest of Blanchard. That's a severe storm there, damaging winds. Golf ball size hail, maybe a little bit bigger. This storm here is severe from west of Chickasha, east of Verdon, to the Chickasha Airport up to Pocasset and Amber. So that's got golf ball or maybe even golf ball to small tennis ball very close to the Chickasha Airport right now. Down I-44, another heavy storm northwest of Lawton right now. Let's take a look. Just a short while ago, you're watching this on News Channel 4 Live. You might have heard about this. You might have gotten a tweet from it or seen a Facebook notification. This was the tornado. We had it from the beginning to the end as it tracked from northwest Moore to the northwest of Westmore High School, very close to Westmore High School, down to the Warren Theater at I-35, which is exactly where the May 20th tornado tracked. Look at all the power flashes. Incredible. F1 tornado might have gone to a low-end F2. There is damage. There's overturned semis. There's roof damage. There's power poles down. There are power lines down. Not a violent tornado, but a significant tornado, certainly, with winds at least 110 to 120 miles per hour in that tornado. It was about several hundred yards wide at its widest point, several hundred yards wide. Certainly not a large tornado by Oklahoma standards, but a significant tornado all the same. Now, I think we have some damage to show you. What do we have here, control room? There you go. Who's that again? Say that again, Nat. Let's go to Aaron Brackett live. Aaron?
Yeah, Mike, we're headed near the airport now, down 44, and we're actually following that second severe warm thunderstorm. Mike, we were stopped on I-40 near downtown Oklahoma City. There was big-time hail. We were stopped because cars were stopped under underpasses, and you were reporting a little bit of a spin up near the fairgrounds. We had some winds that were varying directions. Now, it was nothing near what you're reporting in Moore. It was not like that, but we have seen a couple snapped signposts near downtown Oklahoma City in the fairgrounds, and then also near the airport and just north of it. There have been snapped signposts kind of laying every which way. Now we're headed towards south on I-44, H.E. Bailey. We're going to take a look at this next storm system that is approaching, and we'll let you know what we find. Mike, over to you.
Okay, appreciate that. So still an evolving situation here. Let's go back to live storm tracker. And live storm tracker here. The tornado threat is still not zero. It's still there for sure. This hook echo here is coming up really fast. This is on the northern side of the original Moore tornado circulation. And you see the hook there coming up really pretty quickly. Stella on the east side of Draper Lake is where that is right now. So watch the hook here. See there, just the past. These sweeps go through like every 20 seconds. So these are updates like every 15, 20 seconds. So it's really live all the time. And you see the trend there is you see it go through the loop there of the hook spinning up right there. That's at Stella. So Twin Lakes, Bethel Acres, Twin Lakes, and Shawnee. You folks stay alert. This storm has produced the confirmed tornado. Might have been a low-end F2 over in Moore. Now that tornado has lifted, but on the northern side of that circulation, this is spinning up rather fast, and we're showing a pretty large, deep mesocyclone that is moderate in intensity right now and spinning down toward the cloud base. So we could potentially have additional tornadic activity. There's no tornado warning on it right now. But Stella, east of Draper Lake, north of Little Axe, about 7 or 8 miles north of Little Axe. So the Little Axe area doesn't appear to be in any danger of that Moore tornado since it's lifted. But then Stella, Twin Lakes, Bethel, Acres, Dale, over to Shawnee and Tecumseh. As you see, the motion there is to the east-southeast, so it's red line, center line for Shawnee and Tecumseh. Let's go back to Mark Dillard with a live update from the Moore tornado damage. Mark?
Yes, Mike. Again, I-35 is shut down at South 4th Street in Moore. We've got a tractor trailer that's across the highway, so traffic is going to have to get off at probably before 4th, but right at 4th, the exit is still open. on the southbound lanes, and again back toward Southwest 119th and Western, and I'm sure in between basically the Warren Theater to the Southwest 119th in May, just to the east of that intersection, and back toward Western, intermittent damage all along from basically the Warren back to the northwest to Southwest 119th. There's probably intermittent damage all through there if this had been on the ground the entire time, which it sounded like from the chopper with power flashes that it probably was. So we had a pretty significant event come through. And, early on out at El Reno, it looked like it had been undercut. And then we began to talk about it intensifying again with gustados. And Kevin Cosby, my chase partner, saw some lifting dust as we were coming into the west side of Mustang. So it definitely got back together, started to intermittently come in contact with the ground, and definitely with the power lines as it was popping the power lines, which when it is so dark in the evening hours and at night, that is really the only way you can tell that it's in contact with the ground, especially from the helicopter, is with those brilliant power flashes of the transformers going up, is indicative of either the winds twisting the lines and making them gallop where they pop, or that they're being taken down and actually disrupting the power system. So it is a definite event that we've had go through on the south side, and they'll be cleaning up for days on this one, Mike. And I expect folks may not have power for a couple of days. Back to you.
Mark, appreciate that. This circulation continues to spin up, and it's not too far from tornado genesis right here. Stella, Twin Lakes, Bethel Acres, Shawnee, perhaps as far south as Tecumseh. It looks like it's heading more for Shawnee. That's reasonably strong circulation now down at the cloud base. So no tornado warning yet, but Bob Moore Chopper 4 is on that, so we're going to get an update from him coming up. Let's take our quad box here and take a look at our video streams. What I want to point out to you here is a little damage here. This is from Kevin Josephy and Aaron Brackett. So let's take that full and take a look at it. They're down in Moore. And you see that's very typical of F1, maybe low-end F2 tornado damage. Looks like the garage door might be pushed in. There's significant roof damage. It's like part of the roof is even gone, if not more than part of it. That would be very typical kind of F2 type damage down in Moore. A lot of tree limbs are down in those trees. So we're not talking about a violent tornado, but certainly a weak to moderate tornado. And the damage path was intermittently between 100 and 200 yards wide, the way it looked. It was on the ground from northwest of Westmore High School, crossed over the Warren Theater at I-35, and lifted at about East 60th and Franklin in far northeast Norman. About 20 minutes ago, that tornado has lifted. But there's some of the damage in Moore. I think we're getting Kevin Josephy on the Gentner. When we have him, we can take him. In the meantime, let's go to the storm tracker and take a look at where the circulation is right now. There are no tornado warnings from the Weather Service right now, but the circulation here continues to intensify. Well-defined hook near Stella, Bethel Acres, Twin Lakes, Dale, near north of Pink, over to Shawnee. Pretty much, look at the motion there. Pretty much heading for Shawnee. So you folks in Shawnee, you want to take your precautions as this comes into your area. Large hail, damaging straight line winds. There is a tornado threat with this storm coming out of Cleveland County into Pottawatomie County. So we're going to track that with you very, very carefully, but you want to be away from those windows toward the middle of your home when that approaches you in Shawnee. Bethel Acres, Twin Lakes coming up right now south of Newalla and south of I-40 at the casino. That's where it is right now, north of Highway 9. So what do we have here? Who do we have on the Gentner here we can talk to? Okay. Let's go to Mark Dillard here. Let's go to Reed Timmer here. Let's go to Reed live. Reed, what do you have?
Hey, Mike, I'm on Robinson and 12th Street right now, about to blast east on Highway 9 to try to catch the backside of the storm. I'm finally out of the rain and hail. Just debilitating horizontal rain and hail in the core of that supercell. I tried to find the damage path there on 77 and Norman east of I-35. I couldn't find it, so it may have weakened east of I-35. There was a little bit of tree damage, but now I'm ahead east. I think I can see way off the distance the base of this storm, so I'm going to try to catch it in the next 15 or 20.
Well, basically.
Okay, Reed, appreciate that. That's an update from Reed Timmer. So here's what we have right now. Northern Oklahoma County is out of it. It's over for you folks. Talking about Yukon, El Reno, Bethany, War Acres, The Village, Nichols Hills, Edmond, Deer Creek, Edmond, North Oklahoma City, Central Oklahoma City, downtown Oklahoma City, you're clear. The storms have moved on by, and you're good to go here as far as the rest of the evening. The cold front's now coming through. It's going to get very windy. This front's going to come through with some 40 and 50 mile per hour winds this evening. It'll turn sharply colder. We'll be in the low 50s by 10 o'clock tonight, and it made 85 for a daytime high today. These are severe storms here. Main threat with these is going to be damaging winds and some large hail. The tornado threat with these is lower, not zero, but lower. They're behind the cold front, so more of a straight line wind and hail event for Chickasha up toward Middleburg, Blanchard, and then over into the Newcastle area, Bridge Creek, down in Grady County, over into McLean County. Large hail, a lot of golf balls there. Could be a few bigger than golf balls. Hail sizes appear to be coming down just a little bit. That trend of smaller hailstones appears to be continuing, but still a small tornado threat with these, but not as much as this storm here coming into Shawnee. This one has 80 mile per hour straight line winds at least, with a well-pronounced hook echo. So that's going to have larger hail with it over toward Twin Lakes and Bethany, over into Shawnee. Northern Pottawatomie County up toward the Shawnee Mall for you folks over in Pottawatomie County. Let's go back to Mark Dillard with a live update. Mark?
Yes, Mike, just ping-ponging in between these two storms. I'm on the south end of that second storm that's coming into Norman and the Moore area now. Just intermittent rain on the very tail end of this. No hail that I've seen from it, although on radar it looks like it's probably got a little bit inside. But again, it's going to be a mess as you try to get in and out of the Moore area and southwest Oklahoma City due to the fact of that crossing that we had near the Warren Theater. I-35 still shut down due to the semi that is blocking the southbound lanes at South 4th Street in Moore, and then you go back across, basically you almost draw a line back toward the north side of the airport and then over toward Mustang, and that's basically the path that this thing took as it swept down from I-40 and El Reno, just north of Mustang there, and then curved down toward the airport, and then southwest 119th and South Oklahoma City, and then into Moore, and then over toward Draper Lake. So again, probably a pretty long damage swath here, Mike. At times, I would have pegged it at about a quarter mile to a half mile of damage along 119th, and it was intermittent. And you guys were mentioning probably a secondary touchdown. That may have occurred over toward Western. We also had some pole snap there. Either that or it was a more straight line wind event like we had over by the airport. But nonetheless, we've had a pretty significant swath of damage down here on the south side. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, appreciate that. Let's go to our quad box here, our 4 box, and let's go to Kevin Josephy here with the damage down in Moore. Kevin, tell us what you have down there.
Well, Mike, I've got a home that's got its roof completely blown off. I've seen some people walking around. Don't know if anybody was injured here. We have minor tree damage in some areas, some large tree branches blown down in the road. Chicken stuck in some of the trees. Definitely the trash cans that everybody had set out are all blown about this area. But that's what we got down here. Definitely some significant damage right here. I'm at Southwest 4th and Irving Street in Moore, Mike. Back to you.
Kevin, repeat that address again down in Moore.
Okay, stand by. Let me double check it here.
Can I go to the news desk?
That's going to be Southwest 4th and South Irving Drive is where that's at. It's between Santa Fe and basically I-35. Or telephone, it's just to the west of Telephone Road, about 1 block.
Can I?
On Southwest 4th Street, right on the corner.
That Kevin Josephy. Let's go to the storm tracker. We're going to take a little broad look here as to what we have going on. And again, central Oklahoma City to the west and north, you're fine. There's one heavy storm in Guthrie, but not a big problem. Some small hail there, nothing major. The line now runs from South Tulsa down to south of Stroud to just west of Shawnee, down to Norman, and then from Norman down to Chickasha down to west side of Lawton. And this is more of a straight line wind event. Tornado threat now is going down, except for this one 1 storm that's located to the west of Shawnee. Let's go to Max 2, and even the circulation on that one has weakened a fair amount here in the past 5 minutes or so. So there's no tornado warning with it. The hook spun up, but now it's spun down. So this may not produce any additional tornadic activity, but it is heading for Bethel Acres. It's over Twin Lakes right now, heading over into the Shawnee area. So we're going to keep close track of that. No tornado warning. The circulation is weakened a bit, but 80-mile-an-hour straight-line winds are possible. I think we're going to go to Kevin and Linda over at the news desk. Guys?
Mike, thank you. Incredible job by you guys again today from the forewarned storm team.
Great coverage.
And we do have some injuries from this storm to tell you about.
3 lacerations reported by IMSA in the area of Southwest 119th and Western, but so far those are the extent of injuries that have been reported, so we hope that it remains with only those 3.
We're going to take a look at some pictures we have from earlier today. Okay, we're going to wait on that for a little while, and we're going to head back over to Mike. But we do know that we've got, what, about 19... Let's do that. Because these power flashes this evening were unbelievable. In Moore, you would think something bigger was going through, but it just must have caught these transformers just right, because unfortunately, a light show, a lot of people out of power.
There are people out of power, and as we said, 3 injuries reported so far. This storm started developing much earlier this afternoon as we tracked it as it moved through the Yukon area and then towards the Moore area. What I found interesting was that there was no tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service, while we had confirmation of it on the ground through these power flashes that you're seeing right now. That must have been a big one right there.
It's incredible.
Like a blast almost. That
was from Bob Moore, Chopper 4, John Welsh talking about this. Again, Moore, the epicenter of this, what apparently is an F0 or F1, as Mike is talking about, maybe a little larger. But again, the folks in Moore, subject to another spring storm here.
Mike says he believes it was an F1 or an F2 tornado, which indicates light damage. We showed you one of the houses affected. The roof was taken off the top of it. So far, only 3 minor injuries reported. And again, there's more of those big power flashes that you're seeing now. We're also receiving reports of power outages in various parts of the city, some in Nichols Hills area, some just scattered around the metro area, I guess, depending on where the winds and the hail hit.
And Linda, at one point during this, John Welsh and Bob Moore Chopper 4 was talking about there could have been 1 or 2 small funnels on the ground at one time, and creating all of this havoc here. We do know that I-35 is shut down in one area because there's an overturned semi working to get that uprighted. We also saw an overturned car. We're not sure if that's from the high winds or if it's from the semi that may have toppled onto. We have some pictures now, too.
And can you imagine what those cars must have been thinking with those power flashes seemingly
right
100 yards away? And there are more of those power flashes that you're seeing there. And you could see some fires spark out of some of those transformers.
There were. We did see some lingering fires. We have not heard any reports of any fire damage, so maybe the rain took care of that.
Let's take a look at some of the pictures that you as viewers have sent in to us. We really appreciate that, particularly when you put them in context, as this viewer has done. You see nickel and quarter and dime right there. That viewer got them all. This is Joe Wall from the Northwest Expressway in MacArthur.
Taking a look at some of these more coming in, and you see these different types of hailstones that come down. Some of them, as you can tell, are really clustered together. Others are just big masses like that one right there. And boy, they can do a number on windshields. We know of at least one windshield that was blown out in the Luther area. And look at that.
And if we didn't lose so much of our property and unfortunately injuries and lives to these storms, they are incredible feats of nature. When you see pictures like that, you realize how powerful those storms are.
That is near Noble, a wall cloud there, and this is coming to us. We did see a lot of debris up in the air, and we assume a lot of that debris might have been some of these sheds or some of the shingles coming off the roofs. But there's a shed or an outbuilding right there that's crumpled up.
And these pictures are just coming into us. We invite you, if you have damage or hailstorm in your area, to send us photos so we can keep track of what's going on. That one looks like it's almost embedded with a little bit of debris, and you can see those hailstones gather additional diameter as they fall through the sky. So they put on layer after layer of ice, which makes them so large here in Oklahoma.
They begin to fall, then they're picked back up, and they fall again, and it goes on. And there's another. This is from Mike Rogers at 50 Penn Place. It's one of the tall buildings in northwest Oklahoma City, and they get a pretty spectacular view
if I
of
was
the
Mike,
storms
I don't
coming.
think I would have been looking out the window.
He probably went downstairs after that.
So these storms are continuing right now, although they seem to have lessened quite a bit. Most of the activity seem to appear around between 6 and 7 o'clock. And I think Mike Morgan may be standing by again to see.
He's going to be back here in
back
just a second. But in case you're just joining us, we know of at least 3 laceration injuries in the area around Moore. It was a 119th and Western.
That's right, correct.
119th and Western from flying glass and other debris that we saw up in the air, too.
We did have a report of an Oklahoma City police officer reporting a tornado on the ground around 10th and Rockwell. If that was on the ground, and they later said that was a possibility, it was not. It was only down briefly, but that's still a scary situation for a populated area of Oklahoma City.
And we've had so many bad tornadoes here that anytime sirens blow or anything like that, it just, oh boy, here we go again. Thankfully, this time it wasn't as severe as we've seen in the past, but as you said, it's still pretty spooky when you see these things and you hear those sirens.
Perhaps you saw this live as John Welch tracked that tornado through the Moore area, as he has done, unfortunately, several times in the past. And if you watch closely, you can see the power flashes. What that indicates is that the winds have hit the power lines over there, and they're causing what are known as power flashes.
And John is from the Moore area, so he was giving us exact locations. He knows this area like the back of his hand. He was giving us exact locations where this was happening and giving us a lot of information about businesses in the area, car dealerships, restaurants, things like that. We also saw a shot of Warren Theater that we don't think had any damage, but it definitely was in the bullseye for a little while.
Aaron Brackett sending this in to us right now. This is live coverage of the damage in the Moore area. This is a 7-Eleven that had its roof taken off. As Mike said, he expected these tornadoes, when they are finally classified, to be classified in the F1, F2 areas, depending on the speed of the wind and the damage. They'll have crews go through later in the coming days to look at the damage, and based on the amount of damage and the wind speeds, they'll be able to determine exactly what type of twister or twisters moved through the Moore area again today.
Exactly. Aaron Brackett, live video for us there. We've had, of course, Mark Dillard out and Mike Bennett, and we've had Reed Timmer in the Dominator out as well, and we continue to hear back from them. Mike Morgan is back with us, and Mike, you saw the video of there's some more damage there, of the debris that was up in the air, and you had a pretty good idea of probably how strong or not as strong these tornadoes were.
Well, certainly, not every tornado is an F4 or an F5, fortunately, and today was the case. It was an F1 to an F2. It looks like it probably did go to F2 there for a while, but there's no doubt about it. It was a tornado, and it was basically on the ground virtually the entire time, from northwest to southeast, right through the middle of Moore. You don't have to tell the folks in Moore that. They know that already. Now, fortunately, the tornado has lifted, but that was there's been a couple more tornadoes up by Tulsa and in the immediate Tulsa area, but this was the strongest tornado in central Oklahoma today. I think there may have been a brief touchdown earlier when it was crossing from Canadian County into Oklahoma County between 10th and 23rd and Council and County line. There may have been a brief touchdown there. Power poles are down. We showed some wind shear, spinning winds that were gate to gate, meaning it was really spinning. And then there may have been a few touchdowns out by Eakley out in Caddo County as well. But this was the strongest tornado in central Oklahoma. What I'm tracking now is this area coming into Shawnee. And still a severe thunderstorm, probably the strongest storm. It's the one that did produce the Moore tornado, which is lifted, and this still has some pretty good size hailstones with it.
NWS is reporting 90 mile per hour potential wind.
90 mile per hour straight line winds coming out of that storm. So this is for the Shawnee area. So it's a heads up for Shawnee, and Bob Moore Chopper 4 is right there, and we will be talking to him as we need to make sure that he gets out of the way. He needs to wrap it up and get airborne at the Shawnee Airport. Like right now, he's out of time. Let's go ahead and take a look as we tell you what. Let's back up. Let's go to Max 2. Here's some of the pictures from our viewers, the eyes of our viewers here, and here's some of the hail from Yukon. There's quite a bit of large hail. Here's some of the wind damage. Of course, mobile homes can be a dangerous place, even in an F2 tornado. And then we have more damage down in Moore, some downed tree limbs and some downed trees down at Southwest 149th, down in the Moore area. So here's the motion. If you're to the west or north of downtown Oklahoma City, you're just fine. It's going to turn windy and sharply chillier, but the storms have moved east. More of a straight line wind event with this squall line now rather than organized tornadic activity. That's what we have going forward. Let's go ahead and go to, is it Adam Snyder down in Moore? Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, we're right out here where it's thought that the tornado may have touched down earlier, and I can tell you there is widespread damage. At this point, all the buildings are left standing. We are at a gas station. There's another gas station across the way, but I can tell you I'm facing a traffic light that's been turned around a complete wrong way. Light poles are down all across the area. There is heavy rubble in the road. And what's even more dangerous is that at this point there are power lines. There are literally power lines across the parking lot and in the roadway itself. At this moment where we are, there is still heavy rain and bits of lightning, so we are working on getting a live shot out to y'all as soon as we can once it's safe. So, Mike, we will check in with you once we get a chance.
Okay, appreciate that, Adam. Let's go to the South Doppler. And this is the damage. We've got a lot of crews, as you might imagine, down in Moore. So we'll be showing you a lot more damaged pictures as the evening moves on from what appears to be high-end F1, low-end F2 that went through Moore. But what I want to highlight here, these are still severe. Now, the tornado threat with them has come down, yes, but damaging straight-line winds and large hail. And one severe storm now is in South Moore, going right through the middle of Norman down to Noble. That's what came out of the Newcastle area, Blanchard area a short while ago, came through the Riverwind Casino, down Highway 9. It's now in Norman. So these are severe storms with damaging straight line winds. You want to make sure you stay away from windows and hail sizes. Lots of golf balls. Could be some small tennis balls, golf ball to small tennis balls.